Reading with your kids.
Join us right now from New York City, doing something a little bit different today. Our guest is here to talk about something that I think is really cool. It's called the You Matter movement. Please welcome to the show the founder and the driving force behind the movement, Alaura Lovelight. Hey, Alaura, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm pretty wonderful. I'm excited to have you on today. Tell us a little bit about what the You Matter movement is all about.
I established the You Matter movement in 2018. I had originally gotten commissioned to write a song for a weight loss Instagram page, which they ended up actually no longer using, but it ended up being a beautiful thing that started a movement for me and my company. So I love how the universe works on things like that. But I had written a song called You Matter, and it was meant to kind of just be an inspirational piece. The weight loss page had asked me to make it, but I wanted to write a song that was kind of all encompassing. How can I write a song that everybody connects to? And that's where You Matter came from. I felt like that was the message that was really important to me for anybody of any color, of any age, of any race or ethnicity, or anybody of sexual orientation. Everybody, we all matter. And that was kind of the premise of it. And then we went to do the music video, and I ended up deciding to go and work with a community of Bridgeport, Connecticut, and involve them in the music video. And I went to about 4 different schools, and I went to a reintegration program for people just coming out of prison, and I went to a church, and I ended up speaking with all of them about kind of their story and how it matters. And it was an amazing project. I could talk forever about it, but the video ended up kind of breeding this movement of You Matter. And so now we work in schools, and we work with different kids, and we do different workshops and empowerment and things like that. And it's just a wonderful thing that I'm thrilled to be doing. Yeah.
Well, I'm really excited about this for a bunch of different reasons. Bridgeport is a great little city in Connecticut, has a neat place in my heart. I have performed there many times. Alaura, I do educational magic shows, and Bridgeport is one of those great places. Of course, P.T. Barnum, and was that was his home for a long time. So there's lots of performance history down there. But what a great message to share with the world, that you matter no matter who you are, no matter where you are, no matter who you might see yourself as being. You matter. And I think that's an incredibly important message for all of us to hear, for ourselves, but also to be able to look at everybody that we meet and have the attitude that, you matter too.
Right. Absolutely.
Yeah. What was, you said you heard a lot of stories from the folks in Bridgeport that you worked with in many different venues. What was the story that surprised you the most?
What was really interesting to me was that I had anticipated that we would go and we would meet with the kids, and we would meet with the adults, and we would meet the guys, and that they would all have this really cool, unique story that they all kind of wanted to tell. And it was actually really interesting that it was opposite, which was even cooler, was that I had this little boy in 3rd grade, and so what I did when I went to the schools, I had 4 pieces of paper for everybody. The churches, the reintegration, everybody had 4 pieces of paper. And one was, I asked them to write, what's something that you were bullied for, something negative somebody said to you, something not nice, and I want you to write it down. And so they would write that down. Then the second piece of paper, I said, what's something that you want to do, that you want to be, that you want to become, that you want to put into the world? And then I had them write that down. And then I had one piece of paper with them saying You Matter. And then one piece of paper was for the older, like adults, of like some advice you would give to the kids or something like that. And really interestingly, and this still really gets me choked up, is that I had this little boy in 3rd grade, First of all, I thought, they would write something on their paper. I was amazed at how vulnerable people were about the negative thing. They weren't like, oh, someone didn't like my hair. I thought they would kind of give me a surface answer. I didn't know that they would go really sincere and deep with it, which made the project all that more authentic. But I had a little boy in 3rd grade, and his paper said, someone said my skin color was so dark I should be a slave. And that was a 3rd grader wrote that on his paper. I think he was 8. I had the same reaction that you have, which was speechless and heartbreaking. And even more interesting was that one of these guys, really sweet guy, probably 2 or 3 months out of incarceration, wrote the same thing on his paper.
Oh my goodness. That's horrifying.
It's so interesting because, like I said, I had thought, oh, they'll all tell a different story. But actually the story that came out of that project was that we're all not that different.
Mm-hmm.
We all think that our problems are so big and no one understands. And when we talk to each other and we share our stories, it's like, wow, somebody's been through that too. Not to demean or degrade or take away from what that person has been through, but there are people who can support you, who have been there, who have overcome that, who have kind of dealt with that. And so that's why this project was so, when I went to Bridgeport, I did a lot of research about what area can I go to with the most diversity. So Bridgeport as an area and the school system that I went to was the most diverse in terms of Black, white, Hispanic, Asian, really across the board, pretty even. Then same thing with social class, where I had kids with holes in their shirts, and then I had kids with, like crisp, whatever, like they were all really, really different. And so that was so interesting to me, that like, we're all so different, but really we're all the same and we all matter,
Yeah.
That was shocking to me. Yeah.
Yeah. And I think it's important to note all the things that you are ticking off of the differences, the ethnicity and the social class, and those are all surface things.
Yes. Yes.
And, when we help ourselves and we help our kids to look deeper than the surface, we can see that we are all part of this beautiful human family.
Yes. Yes. And that was the totally exact point of the video. And it was really neat to see people feel like just because I asked them to share their story, they felt like they mattered. And that was the whole point of the video. And it was like really a beautiful thing to see people, especially these guys, right, coming out of incarceration, feeling like, what do I have to contribute? And I messed up, and whatever, they're feeling. Feeling like, thanks for including us in this project. Thanks for not forgetting about us because we maybe made a mistake. Same thing with I met specifically with the church elders, not just church congregation, but I asked for the elders of the church. And same thing. They had the same feeling of, we're older, or we've done our, we're in retirement phase now or whatever. Thanks for remembering that we matter too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've shared this on the podcast in the past. My wife and I ran a ministry serving the guests of a homeless shelter here in Boston for many years. And at Christmas time, we would bring gifts on a weekly basis. We'd be serving desserts. And it didn't matter how nice the gift was. It didn't matter how exotic the desserts might have been. The thing that those guests all appreciated most is when we looked up and we made eye contact and we said hi and we saw them. Yeah. How do you think that we can teach our kids that lesson, to always be willing to be vulnerable and not put themselves in danger, but to be vulnerable, to to see the humanity, to see the thing that connects us with their classmates, with all the people that they meet, not only now when they're kids, but throughout their lives?
I think there's two ways. I think something that I often say, especially based on the experience I had with making that video, is that I don't think that it's our job to teach them how to do it. I think it's our job to make sure that they don't undo it. Because all the way up until the sixth graders, they have the most beautiful heart. They do not see color. They do not see the holes in the clothes, especially the kindergartners. They are hysterical. They love each other. They're, hanging out. They're being kind, because that's what we are as people at our core. And then as we grow and as we have life experiences, that's what shapes us into feeling like making decisions that maybe are not in alignment with that, and being the kind of person that, isn't in alignment with that. So I think it's an unlearning. I think it's a savoring the kids up until that point to make sure that they understand, why it's important that those things don't matter, and that we as people do. And then I think when they do get to a certain age, I think that it's really important for people to have awareness and people to have understanding.
Yeah.
And I also think that it starts with how much us as this generation have an awareness and understanding of how we act in front of our kids, how we speak in front of our kids, how we dress and walk and present ourselves. And, there's so many, especially women, there's so many women who have such a negative opinion about their appearance and have no clue how that is affecting whoever is in their life, their child, their daughter, their niece, that the way that they feel about themselves is like, we learn everything from watching our surroundings. So it's like we learn to feel bad about ourselves because we've seen it. We've seen somebody either on television, in our life, in our family, in our, our teacher maybe, that feels badly about themselves because of XYZ. And then then the kids take it on. That becomes generational. And that's where we have to break it, is we have to do a better job of learning about ourselves and being honest and being good people. And then, you can't tell a kid to do something. You can show them much better than you can tell them. Yeah.
As we're talking and you're sharing that, this movement started out of the creation of a song.
Yeah.
And we all know how powerful music can be in our lives, both positively and negatively. I had Cedella Marley on not too long ago, the daughter of Bob Marley, and she talked about her dad's music. I forget the exact way. She said her dad's music had meaning to it, had a purpose to it.
Absolutely.
Sounds like that's something that you're trying to do with your music.
Yes. I think that, it's important that I feel like songwriting is a God-given gift that I was blessed with. And I think that it's really important to utilize, like, we all have different gifts and we all have different things to contribute to the world. I believe that mine is music. And so I take that very seriously. And, all of my music has a different purpose, right? Sometimes the purpose is to make you feel beautiful and confident. And sometimes the purpose is to make you feel seen and make you feel valuable. And sometimes the purpose is to make you think about life and how you're doing and what you're feeling, and if you're being honest. But yeah, I do a very specific job to be intentional about everything I write, everything I produce, everything I put out, any product that I'm a part of, even anything I put my name on, right? It's like, what's the purpose? What are we doing? What, are we making an impact? Are we making some money? Are we making a difference? Are we, giving back? Are we like, what's the reasoning behind this? And is it something that's in alignment with myself as a brand? Because I don't just think that, making music is fun, but you can make music anywhere in your living room by yourself and never be heard. I think being an artist is that comes with that. That's part of your responsibility as an artist. If you decide to put yourself out there to be, to be somebody that is using their gift to change the world.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
How can we, because music plays such an important part in kids' lives, and there's a lot of music out there that is inspirational. There's a lot of music out there that people find demeaning. I never recommend the parents try to ban anything in their kids' lives, because they're not going to be successful. They might not hear it in your house. They're probably going to hear it in your house. You just won't know about it.
Right.
They're going to hear it somewhere.
Yeah.
And I think it's much more important to sit down and talk to kids about what they're consuming, music, video games, and talk about it, and talk about what kind of values the music, the lyrics, the movie, what kind of values they're expressing, and
Sure.
ask the kids if that's in alignment with the values that they hold dear to their heart.
I totally agree. I definitely agree. Yep.
Yeah. What's a great way, do you think, a parent can kind of go about that without kind of going through a kid's song list on their phone, but just would it be to suggest music? Hey, I just heard this song by this woman, Alaura, and I think you might like it. Or what do you think? How can we connect our kids with really inspirational music?
I work with, I have students that I coach and consult with for voice and performance and things like that. And I often will let them pick the music they want to work on. I do like a group course, and I let them all bring what they want to work on. Because I agree with you. I think that everybody's taste is different. Everybody gravitates towards something different. So I think it's important to let that be an expression of themselves, of what they're listening to. So already I definitely agree with that. Then after they bring a song to me, I really like to know why. Because the reason that we listen to different types of music, whether it's on a conscious level or an unconscious level, is because we connect to it in some way. And, most people will say they like this person or that version or that version. And when you ask them why, they will say, well, I just like it, right? Like, but you might like music that I like or don't like, or somebody else likes and doesn't like. And there's a reason behind why we like certain music, why we like certain video games, why, there's a connection that we're having, there's a feeling that we're having. And I think as parents and teachers and mentors, why do you like that music? Oh, that's an interesting song. I haven't heard that. This is what I say to my kids all the time. Why did you pick that song? And a lot of times, I think something that gets lost is that the kids are way more in touch than we think they are. And they'll give me the most amazing answers about, again, I have a 9-year-old, one of my kids that I coach. And he said, well, I really feel like, that guy was talking about, I forget what he was talking about. It was something about how, he felt like an outsider. The character, the song was singing about feeling like an out. And he said, I kind of feel like that too. And that's why I liked this song. And I thought, wow, he was able to identify that he liked that song because it made him felt seen, He might tell his mom or his dad, yeah, I like it, or his friend, yeah, I just like it. But the reason behind it was because he connected to it. He felt like, yeah, that feels like me. And that's why we all make different types of music, right? Because it connects to somebody. So when the kids are doing it, I would totally agree with you about banning it is probably the last thing you want to do if you don't want them to listen to it. Second is, they might be listening to a song that you think is inappropriate, but maybe it makes them feel confident about themselves. And if you get to the root of the fact that, oh, they feel confident, maybe now you can direct them into music that is better, language or whatever you want for them, but has the same feeling behind it.
Yeah, I like that. I like that a lot. Before we go, one of the things that we've talked about here, because we have a lot of authors, a lot of aspiring authors who listen to the show. And one of the things that we share with them is that if you want to be a successful author, one of the things you have to realize is that when you write a book, that you are in fact becoming the CEO of your book business.
Sure. Yeah.
And that is one of the things that I have heard from you loud and clear from the very moment we started speaking. You're an artist, you're a singer, your instrument is your voice. But before all of that, you are the CEO of Alaura Lovelight. And just take a minute to talk about how you came to that realization and how important you think it is for people just to be the CEOs of their lives.
Yeah, really important. Well, my company is actually called Lovelight Sound Music, and that was established after we did the You Matter, and that turned into a movement. And then with my music, with my courses, working with different teens and adults, it became a brand, right? And I think that specifically the You Matter movement made me understand and realize that it's bigger than your one project. It's bigger than your one book. It's bigger than your one song. It's bigger than your one article or newsletter or whatever. If you're putting yourself in a position that you feel like, I'm a creative person, this is my gift, and I need to share it with the world, because that's why we get to a place where we share it, then you are putting yourself in a position to say, I am the CEO. I am going to build a brand around this name, this book, this concept, this inspiration, this idea. And I think, again, just like knowing your why, I think it's really important as creative people in general that we are really, really clear about what we're doing and why we're doing it. If this is the book that I wrote, what is the concept? What is it about? What do I want people to get from it? And then that's my brand. And I think that doing that, like you said, it's way bigger than just one book or just two books or making money as a writer or whatever the reasoning behind people wanting to pursue that. You have to be very clear about why you're doing what you're doing.
Yeah. Alaura, tell everybody, please, where they can go to find out more about you, to find out more about the You Matter movement, and to find out how they might be able to explore their own musical abilities with one of your courses.
Yeah, absolutely. So lovelightsoundmusic.com is my company's website. You can go to lovelightsoundmusic.com and you can find all my music there. You can also find links to all the courses. There's 3 courses right now. One is for musicians who want to learn how to make more money and the strategies behind that, which there are a lot of. And then the second one is for it's called The Willing Creative, which is kind of a lot of what we're talking about for author, for that side, for the authors and people writing. It's really about a course where we meet, twice a month, and we really collaborate on what's holding us back. Why are we not putting our art out? How do we feel? How do we feel about our brand? Are we doing the steps about why and this and that? And then the third course that I have is called Unseen to Queen, and it's for teen girls. And I love it. It's one of my favorite things that I do. And it's a 6-week course for teen girls to use singing, songwriting, and writing, all of the parts of writing music in order to like build confidence and life skills and all of that we've been talking about. That's kind of on the kids side. So yeah, you can find everything at lovelightsound.com. I do have a workshop that's free that's happening this weekend with an author from Canada, Margot Denomy. She wrote Mommy Am I Pretty, and it has done very well in Canada. And so her and I are doing a workshop, so you can register for that online. It's free. And yeah, on social media, if you look up Alaura Lovelight, you find me, and I will do my best to find you back and message you. I always love to connect with people. So
we've had a great time speaking to the founder and driving force behind the You Matter movement, Alaura Lovelight. Hey, Alaura, thanks so much for being with us.
Thank you for having me. It has been a pleasure. Thank you so much.